Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excuse me. Oh, man. It's about that time. Oh, man. Let me get myself together. 1 second. Hey. For the 20th century. Illness. Brilliance. All right. Let's do it. And let's do it for real. Hold on. I need to turn lights on. Excuse all the boxes in the back. We got some moves to make. And those moves we are going to make. Real quick. All right. Yes, apologies for being so ill prepared, man. Hey, it's Camp from the Port. It's the channel. The channel is Camp from the Port. Thank you for tuning in. And today, because I would say this week, but I think I'm going to hit y'all over the head one more time before the week is up. And yeah, Saturday still counts as the week. But today, man, I want to talk about one of my favorite MCs as I was just a young person coming up, being inspired to really write. And I want to talk about one of what I feel is one of the most disrespected albums, not of only just 2000, not of just the turn of the millennium or Y2K or whatever, but probably in hip hop, man. This is probably one of the most disrespected, if not the most disrespected album. And there's a lot behind it. And I want to talk about it. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about Canibus sophomore album, 2000 BC, 2000 BC, 2000 B for Canibus. Can I bust? If you're not aware, this is your first time even hearing about dude. That's what that how the name is spelled. It's not spelled like actual like marijuana cannabis. Okay, now I got to explain that because hey, some of y'all just got on Earth like 15 years ago, or when this album dropped. You might be 25. So it's important that we educate in the midst of everything. As I tell the story of this album, and as I tell my personal story and my relationship with this album, I want to talk about the time period of 1996 to the year 2000. And it's important to talk about 96 to the year 2000 because so much has transpired. And I absolutely did forget the CDs that I want to show y'all, man. So again, I am super tripping on the preparation. Let me go grab the CDs quick so we can have a real discussion about this album, shall we? All right. 1 second, y'all. I will return. All right, we're back. I can't show you everything about the moving piece that we got, man. We got a lot going on. So look, nope, that's for tomorrow. We got some for you tomorrow too. Don't even trip. And we got guests tomorrow too. So make sure you tune in. But 1996, 1998. Now had I been thinking about this, we're gonna keep it one artist specific, but for a lot of people, the first time they ever heard Canibus, it could have been three places. It could have been on one of two Lost Boys tracks on the Love, Peace, and Happiness album, or it honestly might be DJ Clue Freestyles, DJ Clue Radio Freestyles. Long before the days where Funk Flex was doing the volume series, DJ Clue used to have the Monday night mixtapes, and I think he used to do stuff on Fridays as well, but he was putting out a lot of mixtapes. And DJ Clue is, I mean, for everybody that may need context, he was the DJ drama of his era. He was also the Funk Flex of his era. He was, everybody rolled into one. The first DJ I ever learned about that was not just from my state. The first DJ that I heard about as far as New York and New York DJing, it was DJ Clue. There was nobody bigger than DJ Clue. So everybody trying to get placement on Clue mixtapes. But Canibus not only was making Clue mixtapes, but he was coming up to the radio station to body everybody in America. And that's very important. So that's like 1996. So also Love, Peace, and Happiness, okay, from those that may be unaware of the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys, one of the I would say premier groups of the 90s, because they cranked out quite a few hits off of just one album, Legal Drug Money, which I absolutely should have did a review on, and we'll probably get to it. Love, Peace, Legal Drug Money was a great album. It's got some great joints on there. Now, granted, I'm not about to sit here and gas y'all like it was like the super duper classic, but it's like 4 or 5 records that are like forever etched in stone in hip hop that should be that should always be recognized. So when there's a chance, we are going to talk about that Lost Boys album, just because I want to say it'll be the 30-year anniversary of that next year, I believe, if not the year before or year after. Either way, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the Lost Boys. We're just going to pay homage and show love to the Lost Boys no matter what. But Love, Peace, and Happiness dropped in 1997. And by then, they had the Music Makes Me High remix, which from Legal Drug Money, but going in to Love, Peace, and Happiness is Beast from the East. And a lot of people's introduction of Canibus is from Beast from the East. And that's a song that's Mr. Cheeks, A Plus, Redman, Canibus. And before you could go viral on the internet, and before you could just say something or do something that had nothing to do with rap to get yourself known, you really had to just like rap. And before you could show up, or before you could just send a track or send a verse via email from wherever you are in the world, you really had to pull up to pull up to a studio, lay your verse, or pull up and write your verse on the spot and lay your verse. Like, that was just the time. There was a lot of camaraderie and a lot of positivity that comes from that. I think if we want to bring back a lot of more feeling in rap music specifically, I think that needs to happen more. People need to go back to that. Somebody got to have the studio, and people got to start showing up to the studio, writing, or just performing your records. You know what I'm saying? Letting everybody hear it. Throw the beat on. This is what I'm about to do to it. I want to come in here and blah, 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 blah. Like that has to become a thing again if we're going to really, truly restore the feeling in rap music. It's more than the sound. It's an energy transformation. But however, Canibus on Love, Peace, and Happiness makes his like stake and claim of just like, yo, I'm super nice out here. You know what I'm saying? And because, I mean, look, he kicked this verse off with saying Canibus has the sickest armor. No, Canibus is the sickest drama, piercing up the quick. Oh my God, I'm messing it up. I'm strong enough to pierce the thickest armor. I smack bitches who try to suck dick through a condom. And he's going on for like another 49 bars from there. It's the first time for me somebody has rapped longer than Prodigy on just one in particular verse. But more importantly, that the verses incredible. Now keep in mind, he's going right after Redman, and Redman smokes beats from the East. But Canibus now takes us to another world. And now people are like, yo, who is Canibus? And I'm talking about New York probably already knows, but now people like in Illinois, because granted, I don't know a lot of people that had the Lost Boys CD, but I had it because I bought Legal Drug Money. I saw the Lost Boys perform live. So I naturally went back, got Love, Peace, and Happiness, found Beats from the East on there, and was like, yeah, got to hear more of this guy. Then, of course, 1997, we're still there. Canibus, 4321, LL Cool J. LL Cool J featuring Redman, Method Man, DMX, Canibus. It is one of the most important songs in hip hop. It is one of the most important songs to Canibus' career. We'll talk about it more in depth at a later time, but that sets up what we don't know as being the first time the internet has come into play with a rapper's perspective on music and how things are going. We don't know that this is going to turn into one of the most notable beefs / battles, feuds in hip hop history. But Canibus has a line in where he mentions about barring the mic on LL Cool J's arm. LL Cool J takes hyper offense to it. He asks him to change it. But in the process of all of that, LL decides, yeah, you changed it, and I'm still dish you on it because it's my song. I do what I want. I'm the biggest rapper in the world. And for everything considered, by 1997, LL Cool J, if he wasn't he was definitely one of the biggest rappers in the world. I would only say Snoop was rivaling him as far as global impact. But even then, by then, I don't know. LL Cool J might have absolutely been the biggest rap superstar in the world. But Big Willie Style is about to come and change all of that too. So now, that brings us here. We're going to lightning round it. Second round KO. Artwork not the greatest, right? I get it. But second round knockout, second round KO. The diss track, the response. Yo, I'ma let the world know the truth. You don't want me to shine. You studied my rhyme and then you laid your vocals after mine. That's a bitch move, something that a homo rapper would do. So when you say that you're platinum, you're only dropping clues. Fire. One of the I personally am super offended that when y'all be talking about y'all top 10 diss tracks ever, and I think I was a victim of this as well, we leave second round KO off. We'll get to that, but that should be up there, and I don't mean it should be number 10 either. So as we're getting into now, we're in 1998. Okay, 1998, Canibus, Can I Bust the Album? Okay, very controversial in rating an album. A lot of people came out, said this album was complete garbage. I disagree with that, but at the same time, much more to be desired. Now I can get to my notes here. That's a solid enough intro to where we are. So look, here we go, man. Look, Canibus is one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying? Before Banks, before Wayne, before Lloyd Banks, before Lil Wayne, before Freeway, Beanie Siegel, before anybody you can name, was dropping thousands of bars on mixtapes. There was Canibus. Okay, be clear on that. And Canibus was a complete lyrical problem every single time there was an available beat or a radio station with enough airtime, and enough airtime meant 2 minutes or more. There was a problem going on, and his name was Canibus. Now, the Can I Bust album, like I just showed you, let's go back to it. Okay, this right here. Listen, again, in hindsight, I wonder if it was collective sabotage because we don't know it at the time. But LL Canibus turns into, where's he at? BMG versus Def Jam. That's what this turns into. This turns into BMG Universal versus Def Jam. And UMG loses. Okay. We don't know that at the time. It just looks like, oh man, LL Cool J is just LL Cool J. And don't get me wrong, I bought the original copy of It's Dark and Hell is Hot with Survival of the Illest on there with the diss track. I think it's called The Ripper Strikes Back or The Ripper Returns. The LL Cool J response after 4-3-2-1, after second round knockout, LL Cool J drops another song, and I think it's called The Ripper Strikes Back. And don't get me wrong, fire track. It is. But you know what? We'll talk about it. Let's get to the album. We'll talk about it. All right. And but the Canibus album, executive produced by Jerry Wonder and Wyclef. And, again, the reception was, yo, these beats are trash. Like, this ain't it. This ain't it. And I'm not about to sit here and cape for all of the tracks on the album, but I will say, even just listening back minusculely today, the solo debut of Canibus album, it isn't that bad, but he is out of his element. And I'll explain that when we talk about 2000 BC. I'm just building a bridge here. We're building a runway to give you a good idea. If you don't know who Canibus is, this is just the runway being built so you understand exactly who I'm talking about and what is available to you as far as information. I will say this: no matter what, the first album is not. There's no shortage of bars on there, and also, I mean, look. Rest in peace, DJ Clark Kent. DJ Clark Kent gives him the most fire beat on the album. I think How We Roll is the greatest song on that album. It's also the B-side to Second Round Knockout. How We Roll, produced by Clark Kent. Clark Kent, rest in peace. Right? So, Jerry Wonder and Wyclef didn't really give him much heat for this album, but at the same time, with Canibus being the co-producer on this project, for a lot of the album, like he's listed as a co-credit producer on much of that album. Basically, what you gotta chalk this up to is that this is just one of those underwhelming group projects. You dig? Like it still went gold. Be clear, but it's just an underwhelming group project, and sometimes three people can put their heads together with all the greatest intentions possible, but it just doesn't work out. And overall, even though it did see some success, and maybe for the wrong reasons, it was a success nonetheless. Even though sonically, listen wise, maybe much more to be desired. Maybe. However, though, as we get to 2000 BC, the Clue mixtape. No, the Clue. Was it? He's freestyling on Clue. I'll never forget. One of my favorite ways to promo an album ever. You know what? Canibus might be the reason. I never thought about this, but Canibus might be the reason why artists, when they were ready to drop their albums, they went to radio stations and rapped. He might be, because when he was just kicking his 50 to 100 bars, and he said, "Listen to my voice, New York, listen deeply. You are getting sleepy. On July 18th, you're going to get up, go to the record store, and you're going to buy 2000 BC. I was like, okay, you're right. I am. I'm not even in New York. I'm going to do it. And this is back when I had LimeWire. So I was able to download that freestyle, listen to it. And I was also impressed that, again, much like a lot of his freestyles, a lot of those bars were not on the album. And that was also a feat in itself. He gave a lot of heat away to just radio stations. He and he was not mailing it in. Every once in a while, you'll get some incredible bars from Canibus just on the arm, just like, yo, on the strength of like, yo, I'm super nice. It don't matter. Go ahead, use it. You know. So then we get to 2000 BC here. Now, off the rip, the first thing that we will say about this album is that the production is a thousand times better on this album. On 2000 BC, the production is crazy. And for those, again, I'm going to build my case for this being one of the most, if not the most, disrespected album of hip hop history. The producers listed on here include the Heat Makers. Know them, right? Yeah, you heard of the Heat Makers before, right? Yeah. Okay. Irv Gotti, rest in peace. Okay. If you really reading credits and you've been reading credits for a while, Ty Fife, he was on here. You know what I'm saying? Punch and no, I don't. That's not a Punch from TDE, but still Punch, and Chaos. Chaos, who, man, he does a wonderful job on this album. It's definitely a different day. It's definitely a different time. And you can tell how off the rip, just being around a different situation has made a world of difference from track one. If you listen to, where is it at? If you listen to track one on this, which is just the intro, but even if you listen to Patriots, the first one on here versus you listening to the sequel in 2000 BC, even though you should absolutely never skip the sequel, because what is so incredible is the sequel. First of all, let me say the sequel is something I didn't even know I wanted, but man, it was a brilliant idea. And that brilliant idea was to literally let the hook for the sequel be every near every memorable bar that Canibus ever spit between features and freestyles. And that's the hook. Heatmakers bodied this. That beat is incredible. And them taking all the samples of Canibus' voice of all of his different freestyles and features and making them the hook while he just gives us more. Just gives us more bars, more bars, more bars, more bars. And it's it's an incredible move. I would say that for me, hearing this album as 2000 BC starts, as soon as they did I hop into the backseat of the cab, the rhyme till the meter says nah, 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 da 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 da. I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I came for. Like, this is it. This is worth the price of admission right here. This is how I wanted to hear Canibus. I wanted to hear him go bananas on a beat because that's what I expected. That was the bar for me. I think, like many rappers, people underestimate that sometimes we just want to hear the rappers rap and it ain't got to be about nothing else but that. So for him to kick off this album this way was big for me. I enjoyed it immensely. Could not wait to get to the rest of this album. 2000 BC. Literally, the title track of the album. It's been a long time. I should have never left you, but I dope rhyme the step to. You know who that is, paying homage to the god Rakim, right? So, again, great. Juju produces Life Liquid. Why do I love Life Liquid? Because Killer Priest on Cross My Heart, he said, Killer Priest, I'll leave your blood spilling in the streets. And they take that part, the blood spilling in the streets, and they make it a hook. And they make it a piece of the hook. And this cat, Journalist, who I really enjoyed hearing Journalist rhyme. I thought he was incredible. I will keep it a buck. I do not know what he did after this album. I don't remember coming across any of his mixtapes or albums, but I was intentionally looking for him for a while, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to retrieve anything. But even after I listened to this in preparation for this live, I would still love to hear a project from journalists if there is one available. So if anybody can put me on, um, please do that. But I'm also going to look myself. I didn't want to take too much time listening to it because hey, look, we got to talk 2000 BC today. It's Cannabis Day. It's time to listen to his voice and listen deeply. You are getting sleepy. On July 18th, you're going to get up, go to the record store, and you're going to buy 2000 BC. That's what it is, right? So we're gonna lightning round through this because it's honestly just bars, bars, bars. Look, shock therapy. This skit, shock therapy. I automatically knew, okay, you dissing Wyclef, and I'm not mad at it because if y'all ever noticed, if you ever heard Apocalypse from the Carnival album, which is a dope song by the way. But when Wyclef kicks it off with "Arrival of the Carnival," new beats I never recycle. While you're looking for samples, you might get trampled. So now Canibus is obviously dissing Wyclef on Shock Therapy because the dude is like, "Yo, what's up with the beats? Yeah, yeah, right." And with that, the dude is like, "Yo, I don't do samples." And but then he started like shocking him. I don't know if he has like a stun gun or whatever, but he ended up saying like, "Yo, no, I sampled Cubert and I sampled the train." And he was doob that mother crusher, you know. So he's obviously dissing Wyclef, and then the shock therapy skit with the dude being a hit with the stun gun because we don't like the sample choices that he using and he lying about and covering up. We're going to watch who you beef with. Listen, y'all. Watch who you beef with. For me, is I love every song that's got beef in it. I think that's in the top three. Obviously, was beef with Biggie. I put that number one. I think Chubb Rock at a sleeper with beef, but he about bringing people together on his, and this is dope. If you never heard Chubb Rock's beef, check it out. It's a dope track. And Canibus, watch who you beef with. One, this beat is bananas. This beat is bananas. Like if you once they hear that dun 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 dun, once they you get into the pianos, if you don't be like yo, yo, then you were never a real MC a day in your life. You never like if you don't say yo or like like if you don't start if your mind don't start swirling and you just hear something, then I don't know what to tell you. Like hip hop is officially on you. It's not in you. And that's okay. You can be a supporter. You can be a fan. We need to bring back real music fans. So I'm not hating. I'm just saying. But this song, as far as conceptual songs, this is probably the greatest one on this album because there's not much concept. But hey, I am not upset at that because if this is the conceptual effort or the first one that we definitely hear and we're only at track 5, I'm here for it. Um, and there's so many quotables for this for me. You know what I'm saying? Intercontinental ballistic missiles and pistols. You know what I'm saying? Watch who you beef with. You might be walking down the street, then suddenly you hear tires screeching. Niggas will be hopping out with heat. And, okay, yo, man, look, I'll go here and recite most of this album, but we're not here for that. We're here for the story. We're here for the story behind the music. Watch who you beef with. Incredible song on there. Going in right into I'll bust them, you punish them. Now, this is all super pause worthy in 2025, especially if you're messing around with Cam and Mace. Pause on that as well. But this is Rakim. So now, Canibus and Rakim, I think it's no secret that Rakim is probably Canibus' favorite rapper. And what I've always admired about people like Canibus is that when they are talking about their favorite rappers, it is a direct derivative of like who they want it to be. Like obviously, the situation with LL hurt because he wanted to be like LL too, but not Mr. Smith LL to a degree. You remember, we got to remember, he came in on radio and walking with a Panther. I'm bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that energy and everybody. Because I mean, look, the first rap superstar, the first solo rap superstar was LL Cool J. So it's hard to not want to be that. But then Rakim and Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, Don't Sweat the Technique, uh, in any era, Rakim is an elite MC. And I love the fact that when we get to 2000, he gets a chance to prove that he's still elite. Yeah, all my albums might have been 10 years ago, from 10 years removed, you know what I'm saying? Well, the Juice soundtrack, of course, Know the Ledge and all of that, but, you know, when we're in a time, we're in a time where rappers aren't really getting 4 or 5 albums. They're definitely not getting 10-year careers. That's why it was such a big feat when Too Short dropped Getting It, album number 10. You know what I'm saying? And he said he was going to retire, but he came back, because rapping till 30 was not considered a real thing, even amongst rappers. Even Pac, even though he would die at 25, 26 years old, he said he didn't think he'd be rapping at 30. And man, isn't that a disservice to just all of us that enjoy the music, right? Because what if your parents grew up and Harry Belafonte said, yo, I think I'm done with this. I hit 30, like it's a wrap. Or Sammy Davis Jr. or Miles Davis or John Coltrane, anybody like that. Now, granted, people like Hendrix didn't live to be 30, but still, what if they felt like that? What if they talked like that to us? And they talk like that to their audience. Well, what kind of void do you feel that would leave? With them like saying, 30 is it for me. So I say all that to say, man, Rakim is going bananas on this. And I knew Canibus and Rakim had one when I was in the studio. So look, I'm going to share this, and I'm not going to share the name. If you were there, if you tuned into this live, if you tuned into this episode, whenever you hear it, if you know, I'm not giving up names on camera, because this dude's still the homie. I still mess with him. And we will record after this. But, me being super duper rap nerd, you know what I'm saying? Like 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. We're in the studio. We're trying to cook up a little posse cut or whatever. And dude started flowing. And he was like, yeah, the heard, and stick a dick in your ear and fuck what you heard. And everybody was like, oh, and I was just like, yo, that's on the Canibus album. I was like, Rakim said that. But I didn't want to blow up the spot. I didn't want to blow up the spot because we was all crew. We was all homies. But but I think somebody ended up catching it like later, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to say something, but I was like, because look, I listened to it. I was like, I got the Canibus album. I played it on the way here. Like, that was some of my inspiration. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's how I knew, okay, no, Rakim is super nice. Rakim is super nice because even though, he's a seasoned vet, and I think the 17th letter was out by then, but yeah, the fact that people just stealing the bars from the Canibus album to use here, and that's how I knew a lot of people didn't really have it or didn't really know, because out of that studio session, the entire group, once he said that was the bar of the song. Like, nobody went harder than that, right? But then people hear where it came from. They're like, oh, dang, he took that. Dang, that was like the hardest thing he said. I'm like, ooh, that's bogus. I mean, you're right. That's bogus. But still, yeah, biting wasn't allowed. You couldn't just take somebody else's bars and be like, yo, yeah, this mine. We're about to do this. Right? I don't see how y'all let that happen now. That's crazy. But then look, Magnificent, Die Slow, Doomsday, Lost that Sea. Listen, heat, okay? No deep dive needed. Bars, 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 bars. Okay. He is going completely insane. Hey, look, then we get to what? Die Slow. Yeah, Die Slow, journalist. Again, going crazy. And again, the creativity with the hook on this. Now, just like on track one, it was the bars that was spit. On Die Slow, they take this angle of where they're rapping, but the hook is all the just foul and negative stuff that people say about them. Like, yo, like dude was like, you, you got the new Canibus album? He was like, no, it's weak. It's like, so you got the album? He was like, yeah, it's weak, but it don't come out till next week. It's like, yo, you hate him already. Like, you are already with the negative slander campaign. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was very clever in the instance of this is essentially Canibus life. I think if you want something of art imitating life, Die Slow on this album featuring journalists produced by Ty Fife is one of those moments where it's like, okay, this is the epitome of what he's going through between 98 and 2000 as he puts together this album. He's just really not being given a chance, at least not the majority, like the majority collective, which is a shame. And Lost at Sea, again, produced by Irv Gotti, who Lost at Sea. Another fire track. Not much more to say about it. Let's get the fuck you though. PHUKU. Capital U, by the way. So here's a little hip hop history for y'all. Because fuck you, the legend has it is that this is the record that Canibus was trying to get Eminem to feature on. So, and in hindsight, it makes total sense because the Marshall Mathers, the Marshall Mathers LP is out by then. So Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP are out in 2000. Eminem is one of the hottest things in the world right now. And, obviously also super respected on the lyrical tip. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are like, yo, no, he really gets busy. And even though, the content, rapping about drug use and the pills and all of that, a lot of the black audience ain't really feeling that type of vibe. But there is this, not even unspoken, there is just this number one rule is like, yo, no. But the dude from Detroit, the white dude from Detroit, what's his name? Eminem, he get busy. Like he cold, he spitting, he got bars. And I could see Canibus being who he is, a guy that's in New York, that's literally like, yo, I'm the best. I'm one of the illest rappers out here ever doing it. But let's get on some conceptual-ish, because obviously he can match me. I could see it in a world where Canibus is like, no, I think this is a good spar. It'll push my pen, it'll push his pen. And so again, legend has it that he sent the song to Eminem, and Eminem declined. I'm sorry, Eminem dubbed it. He declined. He didn't want to. He didn't want to do the record. I guess no real reason why, no explanation as to why. But the one thing that we do know is that it was officially on from there on out. So since 2000, and for years to come, I don't even know if they totally squashed it. But I'll tell you what. Then there's this. We won't talk about this album, but See True Hollywood Story. I'm gonna go back and listen to this because I'll be honest. When I listened to this after listening to 2000 BC and after see where it was going, I was like, man, Canibus, you lost me. I didn't want this from you. But he also, this is Eminem a few times throughout here, but basically on this album, See True Hollywood Story, he saves Stan. He saves him from drowning. And the song goes on and so forth from there. So then we go to Horse Mentality. Okay, Horse Mentality. The interlude is by Pharoah Monch. Horseman. Now, I didn't understand at the time, but Pharoah Monch is super nice, right? Pharoah Monch, another super nice MC. Anytime he just want to rap, you just let him rap. Let him do his thing. Like, that's what's important here. The fact that Pharoah Monch wants to rap, and he wants to rap on your joint. And as long as Pharaoh Monch alive, I want to hear him rap. And even though what he's doing with 13, on like his rock influence type of group, that what they're doing there is fire too. I've seen them at the Hutton Hotel a few years ago. Matter of fact, hip hop's anniversary. It was a hip hop anniversary show in Nashville, and Pharaoh Monch was there with 13, his band, and they were fire. But horse mentality. Okay, look, man. Horsemen. The 4 horsemen are Canibus, Razzcast, Killer Priest, and Corrupt from the Dog Pound. Now listen, because we always gonna start with respect. All 4 of these individuals can really rap. I've enjoyed them rapping. I want to say I bought an album from every single one of them, I believe. If not, I've definitely was more than aware of who they are. And at one time, you probably could have convinced me that Razzcast was actually the best rapper of this tandem. But there's something about just the way Canibus rhymes. It's just always going to do it for me. But this is one of the more overrated groups, tandems, factions that exist in hip hop. And I'm sorry to say that, but there is the concept is cool idea. The song on here decent, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we overrated this. We overrated this concept of these 4 coming together and putting out music, because I think they would end up releasing an album really much later, like a lot later, because all of them have their own personal strife that they're going through. And man, and prayers to all these brothers for making it out and making it over. But this again, a lot of things sound good on paper, and a lot of times, sometimes just rhyming with your homies is just rhyming with your homies. And it was cool that they all had something and they all brought something different to the table. But at the end of the day, when you put Killer Priest, Canibus, Razzcast, and Corrupt all in the same room, who's the superstar? Who is the person that is going to lead this group to the forefront? Because everybody has to have a front man. And I know in rap, people don't want to hear that, you know, because it's so ego driven. It's so alpha driven that people don't want to be Kato. You got to be the Green Hornet. You got to be Batman, or, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's really trying to be Robin. You don't, if the Avengers, you don't want to be Aquaman, you know, but the Avengers work and the Super Friends work because, hey, Superman is the star. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, I love the Locks. Styles P is my favorite member, but Jadakiss is the star. He is the forefront. You know what I'm saying? Griselda, look today. Benny is the star. Yes. Conway is crazy lyrically, and he stands on his own. Westside Gunn, genius level things that he's doing, and he's a star in his own right as well. But all 3 of them are. But Benny the Butcher, the package that he presents. Pause. But the collective that he presents into that, it is the star power. That's why you see him placed where you see him placed sometimes. And the things that he's willing to do, but he also wants to be a rap superstar. You can't have a group of 4 or 5 guys. You can't have a group of guys if your goal is to sell records. I mean 500,000 to 1 million records. If that is your goal, everybody can't keep it gully. Everybody can't be the grimy, dirty enforcer. Like, somebody has to be the crossover success, or at least the superstar. It's like, hey, look, I'm going to get us $1 million. I'm going to get us 1 million units sold. Just let me do my thing. Like, but these 4, again, great MCs. I think me and my cousin Mafi, he was on the show weeks back, and I was like, you know, y'all overrate Corrupt. And to be honest, this is just another one of those moments of just overrating, because look, you got 3 guys that struggle to go gold if they ever went gold. And then you got another guy, Corrupt, who probably should have been the superstar of this group. But once he got away from the dog pound and got away from Snoop and back and forth on Death Row, like it was very hard for him to sell units as well. You know, Corruption, again, a dope album. But honestly, he could have put that East and West. He could have comprised that for like maybe the best joints, or he could have just dropped the West Coast CD with like 3 of the songs on the East Coast CD, and it would have been a lot more well received. I think he sells more units with it being the West Coast CD with like the 3 or 4 dope tracks that were on the East Coast side, and Corruption does a lot better as a project. But again, that's me. I don't want this to come off like hate, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Look, Horse Mentality, overrated. But hey, it is what it is. Okay? Salute to the Horsemen, respect to you, brothers, but hey. Then we got, 100 bars. Here, listen, and that's exactly what it is. 100 bars. and Canibus starts it off with, yeah, that's the beat right there. I'm about to black out on 100 bars on some professional shit. So don't try this at home, y'all. Yo, yo, yo. And then he's just rapping. There's no hook. All right. There's no concept. He is just rapping like the rent is past due. Okay. And it's phenomenal. He also does Michael Jackson on this. With because this, year 2000, we're in the height of scrutiny, and I think more kids are falsely coming forward and blaming Michael Jackson for tampering with their merchandise and what have you. But Mike never did it. Look, even the old white jurors didn't think he did it. Michael Jackson is the man. Michael Jackson forever. But he's spitting. He going crazy on here. Chaos ends the album produced by Chaos. And listen, again, rap. Really, really rapping. And that's it. There's not more to say about it. Again, there's no real deep dive as far as song meaning goes for a lot of these, right? Canibus on this album is just consistently rapping at an extreme high level, from beginning to end, from bar 1 to the very last bar. He's just rapping at the very high luxury level. He's luxury level rapping, luxury level emceeing on this entire project. And it will never be painted this way, and we'll get into that next. But it's hard to say that Canibus was not one of, if not the absolute best lyricist of 2000. Okay. And not even in hindsight, it's a fact. It's all he really wanted. He wanted to be the illest MC. He wanted to make it clear that, yo, I'm the best. I'm the best rapper out here. I'm the best lyricist. That's all Canibus ever wanted. This album in the year 2000, I think, is proof of, one, what his mission statement was and if he achieved it or not, because yes, right, he does. But, as far as me, year 2000, yeah, Eminem, Canibus, and everybody else. Like, there was nobody else really rapping this well and just that consistently. Now, granted, I'm here to let y'all know, I'm here to come clean up, kitty. I'm here to keep it 1 trillion. In the year 2000, again, I'm 19 years old. I am not grasping the concept of what it really takes to sell a record. I'm not really grasping what it means to be a rap superstar and the concept of moving units. So everything Canibus is doing is gold to me. I think he walks on water and Kool-Aid, okay? You could never tell me that Canibus was anything less than stellar, especially after this album drops. After this drops, I'm like, yeah, you can't tell me nothing. This dude is incredible. But I'm super backpacker. I hate Nelly, you know what I'm saying, and Ja Rule. Like, I'm not here for the party and BS. I don't like any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I stopped dancing at parties. You know what I'm saying? Because I take rap so seriously. I take hip hop so seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like a goof, like a complete dork. And I'm here to say it. I'm here to say it for y'all because there's having a diverse palette, and I think I did have one, but I bought into a lot of the hype and the gimmicks and well, I should say the anti-game, the anti-establishment. You know what I'm saying? I bought into a lot of that. But as I look back, man, yo, I had it wrong. And I'm gonna do an episode on just having it wrong as we came of age, you know. A lot of people, and again, some of our greatest contributors to hip hop made us feel that way. You know, KRS-One made us feel that way. Like, yo, get PM down off the stage, get PM down off the stage, get both of them out of here. You know, I saw this on either on Twitter or Threads, but they were like, yo, you know, maturity is realizing that we should have been on MC Hammer side and not MC Search side. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop should have been backing MC Hammer and not MC Search. And man, 100 trillion%, because while MC Hammer is one making millions upon millions of dollars, he is really trying to save Oakland, California by himself. He's trying to save Oakland, California, and everybody he know in it with royalty checks. But we let the white dudes from New York City diss him, and hip hop co-signs it. And it's not to say that you can't be against the black guy and the white when the white guy is battling them. I'm not saying that. But when we look at what matters to us, what really changes our circumstance, as far as just black people, black community, black delegation, it takes somebody with a heart as big as MC Hammer's was. And the fact that he was taking the realest men and women he could off the streets of Oakland, giving them a job, selling 10 million records, making 30 million dollars, and then going back and being like, yo, community center here. Yo, you need your rent paid. Yo, you need this for your kids. Oh, the school need me to do that. And I'm doing it. Like, yo, that is it. Like, that is it. And we totally dishammer and totally disregarded it. And that was wrong. And why did we do it? Because he was doing hip hop. He was making he was a master of ceremonies. We didn't consider him an MC because he didn't, you know, he didn't wear baggy jeans. Well, yeah, well, he wore baggy like pants, like parachute pants, but because he wasn't the status quo of what hip hop is, he didn't look like G Rap or Run DMC or, you know, LL or anything like that. So we say, oh no, well that's not hip hop. But what's more hip hop than looking out for your community? What's more hip hop than trying to help your community and donating to your community? Didn't y'all see Breaking? They had to save the rec center, bro, or the or the dance theater studio or whatever it was. And Break Into Electric Boogaloo, one of my favorite movies. Don't ever hate on that movie. I'll smack you. But I was so pro backpacker hip hop that my love for Canibus and what Canibus did as an MC, you couldn't tell me that this was not one of the better albums of 2000. And for what it's for, I still stand by that to this day. 25 years later, I listen to this album and he's still going and saying, like, these bars have not aged. Like this is still high quality emceeing. This is high quality wordplay and wordsmithing, all of that. You know what I'm saying? But much like today, 25 years ago, he couldn't escape. He couldn't escape the trap of the music industry. He couldn't escape the disrespect. I'm going to just highlight some things. And this was me on a quick Google search. And before anybody says anything, I want you to just sit back, go back to the year 2000. Think about where you were in the year 2000. But now look in hindsight, 2025, where we are today. And some of the things that Canibus experience or does that you may just look differently at today. So, disrespect number one, right? So from 96 to 99, 2000, Canibus is known as like the internet rapper, right? He's the guy that's, even on the intro to the Canibus album, he trying to crack the code to some database because he's a computer science major, which is also interesting, right? He did this in the 90s. So, but Cannabis is looked at as weird or hard to listen to because he was on message boards, you know, kicking, typing his raps out. And he was talking about the internet. And we were like, damn, what's the internet? Well, that stuff that Al Gore was talking about? Bro, what are you talking about? But, when you think about it, not even when you think about it, you don't have to even like, you don't have to look that hard. You have to think that hard. 5, 10 years later, he proves that he's ahead of time. His reasoning for dropping second round knockout is because he got on the phone with LL and was like, dude, people in Wyoming are talking about you dissing me. He was like, people know you talking about me. And like where LL Cool J was more of like, yo, bro, don't let your team gas you. Like, don't let your crew, because they don't get the opportunity that's in front of you. He trying to keep it local. And he was like, no, dude, on the World Wide Web, like with the people that are also intelligent enough to be on there with me, they're saying that no, LL diss Canibus. So people do know the fans are not stupid, especially the fans that are on the internet. And now he's saying this in 97, 98. This is when he's saying it. And look where we are today. Look where we are today. Where now some people are solely listening to songs, EPs, albums for the sole purpose of saying, "Ooh, I think that's a shot at him," or "I think she took a shot at her." Are they this and that? That's literally what happens 25, 27, 30 years later. Cannabis was already seeing it. And he was trying to get in front of it like, yo, let's do this track. Like even LL was like, it's like, yo, let's do this track, make sure it's all love, and for some reason it falls through. But he's talking like that then, and he sounds psycho, and he's on the message boards, and he writing his verses, he doing the key styles. We used to do the key styles back in the day. He typing his raps out, whatever. And and this is his own world. And again, look where we are today, right? That like all things considered, he is the godfather of internet rap. Like just the whole concept of it, the whole concept of your music is out and you're hearing the reactions or you're reading the reactions through computers and technology. And when battle boards were a thing, because look, there was no audio options like that. I know it's hard for maybe some of the young people that may tune in to believe this, but yeah, literally you had to just type it out. And then maybe if you got to a studio, you got a chance to record what you just typed out. But then it's a key style or whatever. So, you may never use it. You just getting that. That's just an exercise. It's just something for the battle boards. That ain't nothing. Well, Cannabis was doing that, and on top of that, going to the radio stations, going from New York to LA and everywhere in between, and going crazy on the mic every single time. Another thing, and I googled twice. I cleared my cookies and I googled again. There is no source review for this album in the year 2000. There is no source review for this album. Now, I'm going to Google in real time. I'm going to Google in real time because I want to be clear on two things. One, the source had been out since 1991. right? And yes, there was a time where there was there was paying for mics, that whole process. However, I think this album, you know, year 2000, I think, just call me crazy, but I think they could have gave a review for this album. They could have. And it's I think it's politics involved. Don't get me wrong. I sincerely think there's a lot of politics involved with that not happening. Because be clear, Eminem's beef with the source starts because of the Marshall Mathers LP, and that also dropped in 2000. Okay, be clear. May 2000, they review, and it's still to the day because they gave him 4 mics. They gave him 4 mics, and I think that was a edit too. I think that was an edit. But so you telling me from May to July, y'all can do the Canibus album? And see, and that's where I think the Def Jam engine just comes into play. I think that's just part of what it is. Because there are some albums from 2000 to 2002 that probably got reviews. One that was well deserved, but also though, I think nobody is more deserving of a sophomore album review than Canibus because of everything he went through just to get the first album out. And because, hey, listen, let me spare y'all the details. Since they never did it, 15 tracks, 2000 BC, 2000 before Canibus, 15 tracks, 55 minutes and 56 seconds. This album is a 4 out of 5. How about that? How about we just go there? That's a 4 out of 5 mic album for the source since they never did it. And again, I'm gonna chalk it up to LL, the Def Jam engine, and making sure because look, I bet you there's a mic rating for GOAT. I guarantee you it's a it's a mic rating for GOAT, which is LL's album. Matter of fact, let's just look it up real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let's just look it up real quick. We got some time. We got a little time. Y'all with me, right? We just got a little time. I'm already on there. September 2000. So this comes out after Canibus's album. And we're gonna go to Wikipedia. And what do you know? The source. 4 to 5 mics for GOAT. I already knew it was there. I knew it was there. I just wanted to Google in real time so y'all knew that I checked it for real. So literally, everybody that Canibus is beefing with or has odds with are getting music reviews and getting 4 out of 5s. Eminem, Marshall Mathers LP, 4 out of 5. I could say you could give it 4.5, but 4 is honestly respectable too. But it does end up being a classic just for other reasons, and we already discussed that. Then September of 2000, LL Cool J drops Go. Again, another great album. And it's a 4 out of 5 mic album. But for everything that hip hop stands for, everything that the source stood for in hip hop, it is blatant disrespect to not have a album review for Canibus 2000 BC, which is also a 4 out of 5 mic album. But I'm gonna say this. It's 4 out of 5 mics because of the album being as advertised. This is Canibus as advertised. You know what I'm saying? When you buy Comet to clean your bathroom, right? You season the tub, let it sit, and then you come back with more water, and then you scrub and you rinse that out. This is Comet, right? I never expected Canibus to be a big crossover hit. Matter of fact, that probably would have turned me off if he was making something for the ladies or making something for the clubs. I didn't come here for that. I came here for what he said he'd do. He said he's the illest rapper alive. Watch him prove it. He's snatching crowns with the head still attached to it. That's what he said he'd do. And that's all I wanted to hear. Okay. I want him to go crazy on beats. And this album is exactly that. No more, no less. I'm just going crazy on beats for his brand, for everybody. Like, because again, we use things like branding now and all of that. But the brand that is Canibus, the epitome of it, is this album. And you get exactly what you pay for. Much like people like, oh, Pusha T only raps about dope or coke rap, whatever. Okay, cool. But that's what I'm here for. So he should never start rapping about the club or being down in Miami. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're not in the weak way. Like he can rap about it like really fly. But this is that was a big disrespect, man. No source review, but yet albums around his album literally get the review. But hey, again, I'll say it. That's the brand that is LL Cool J. That's Def Jam, the engine. That's them winning the war because they definitely they LL and Def Jam, they're trying to absolutely crush Canibus completely. Because lyrically, let's not forget about this. They're trying to crush him completely, and they cut off his air supply as far as the industry is concerned. Because hey, look, I don't know how y'all viewing it today in 2025, but in real time, in 98 to 2000, a lot of people, a not so silent minority, even if you will, say Canibus won that battle. Like he definitely lost the PR. He definitely lost the public perception battle. But bar for bar, song for song, track for track, verse for verse, people are not saying that Canibus lost this battle. And this is even going to the point that Ja Rule was making earlier, like, yo, beef is bad for hip hop. Battling is bad for hip hop. It's because it stops the money. It stops the progress. You taking your time out to do certain things. It's hard for you to navigate and go different places and do different things. I think nobody's a bigger victim of that than Canibus. Drake can say whatever he want, about the Kendrick thing and going back and forth. But here's the real deal. The fact that Drake gets to complain in a packed out stadium while Canibus is trying to get to a radio station and to get a better budget for his second or third album, that's letting you know what it is. Like that beef doesn't do him any favors. And that was the first time when we look back at it. And I probably want to I'll probably do a separate episode. Obviously not just right back. I won't turn back around, but this is the first time where you win the battle, but you actually lose. Because let's say you hear 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's the first strike. You hear second round KO. You hear the Ripper strikes back, and then you and he takes a shot at LL on his album. Was it I think it's Niggonometry, the Canibus album. But does he really win the battle if I can't get shows, or these people won't feature with me, or now dude dissing me, but Def Jam, if I want a Redman feature, I gotta go to Def Jam. If I need beats from Eric Sermon, if I want to, if I want to be placed on Keith Murray's album, anything, like there's so many awkward moments in hip hop because Canibus was so cool with everybody but LL Cool J on Def Jam for the most part, at least for the tier of rappers that he was with, because he was on Keith Murray's album. I think he would have made it onto Doc's Name 2000. Those would have been really big looks for him. It would have also helped out his album. And it didn't happen like that. He was already on Lost Boys albums. And, unfortunately, because of the battle and the perception of it, and let's just be real, because he even says it because of LL Cool J's ego, he definitely bruised the career of Canibus. Now, granted, the flip side to this is, well, if you were never in it to be a crossover success, if your goal was to not make the huge mega hit records, it is easy to replace you in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like, And that's the thing to be cautious of for any young MC out there that wants to keep it too real, or you want to keep it too hip hop. You got to understand that, okay, well, cool. Don't battle the dude that's really trying to sell 10 million records if you don't care if you sell one. You know what I'm saying? If you don't care about selling 1 million records, don't concern yourself with competing with the guy selling 10. Another time where the battle where you might say the one artist won, but he really lost. Karis versus Nelly. Okay. You can Over Here, I think is a dope diss track. I don't really think that Nelly like totally killed him on the Rock the Mic remix, but it was a response. But here's the deal. KRS told hip hop to not buy the album on June 25th, the Nellyville album, and it still went platinum. And it ended up still selling 10 million records. So is it that hip hop didn't listen? Or is it just the fact that, bro, we playing at two different levels? So it don't even matter what you think about me. It don't matter what you say. And that is again where beef and hip hop, it don't really help everybody. And two, it's like, what are we basing it on? Are we winning the war of words, or are we winning the war of PR and perception? Things to think about. Okay. What also I have as far as disrespect. Okay, listen, Wyclef, excuse me, Wyclef also plays a big part of this because Wyclef is between 96 to 2000. He's in the process of destroying the refugee camp, the Fugees as a group. He's destroying Lauryn Hill's emotions, and he's destroying Canibus' career at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But the Carnival's a pretty dope album. You know what I mean? You got the Carnival, which comes out before Canibus' album, I think. Yeah. So it's what can you do? What can you do? LL Cool J and Wyclef are working against you, and because the score is the score, you know, beefing with him, going back and forth with him ain't necessarily the greatest thing for you to do either. Um, End of day, man, and it may not even be us, the real fans, but again, I say it, and I've been saying it for over a decade now, over 15 years now. If you sign to a record label, your job is to sell records. That's just the job. And maybe, just maybe, Canibus was held to unrealistic expectations because he was never going to be LL Cool J with that style of rap. You know, shoot, you think about that time, late 90s into 2000, Redman wasn't even consistently going gold. Shoot, Redman was talking on Docs the Name. He said, I've been rapping my ass off for years. I've been shipping all this and still ain't hit a million. You know what I'm saying? And he was barely going gold, if going gold every single time. But the packaging of who Redman was and how respected he was, and the fact that he did have some undeniable rap records, some hit records, and of course the relationship with Method Man helps, because Method Man, after All I Need remix, there was nothing else he really needed to do. He could kind of do whatever he wanted, but he had to get that kind of joint out there to open up the fan base, to bring in the more listeners. Canibus, respectfully, I don't think he ever planned to do that, nor did he want to. I mean, I Honor You from the first album, it's deep. You know what I'm saying? It's a very scientific and interesting approach, but at the end of the day, women ain't vibing to that like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just aren't vibing to that like that. You really have to pay attention to the process of a man and a woman meeting and giving birth to to you, like him, because like this the child ended up being, I think, him at the end of the song or something like that. But it's just, again, man, just unrealistic expectations, and with no source review. The source was so important for MCs. We don't have that platform now. We don't have a platform that's the source worthy now, that's really telling us, yo, this is what's next, this is what's hot, this is what ain't hot, or this is what you should just be checking for. That look for him in the source was so important, and he did not get it for this album. And that's why, like, I couldn't even find the actual stats for this album and what it actually sold. It's not even listed in his Wikipedia. So I'm gonna just assume that it didn't even go gold. I'm gonna assume that. Um, but yeah, and then obviously the people that did review it, white publications, you know what I'm saying? Like they labeled it like it's an improvement, but he sounds angry and he doesn't like, there's no hit records, there's nothing, there's no song of the summer here. Like they're giving him a 3 out of 5 at best, and like Rolling Stone and things like that. But for the real ones that know, like Shout the Rap Reviews, Spin Magazine, that they were reputable at the time, they gave him an 8 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? But like Wall of Sound, never even heard of them, but they gave him a 71 out of 100. Like, bro, stop it. You know what I mean? Like, there's like this is a 4 out of 5 album for what Canibus does. And I want to close by saying this, because oftentimes we like to say people are throwbacks or people are in the wrong era or whatever, what have you, and how, oh, if this person was around during this time, their career would be different. Let me say this. I'm going to read this verbatim from my notes. If Canibus starts his career in 2007 to 2010, he is on another stratosphere. Okay. We're having a completely different conversation about him, and he's revered and more respected as a legend in hip hop, because he is a legend in hip hop. And I never want that to get confused. I don't care about the notepad at the battle with Disaster and all that. I don't care about none of that. The fact is, Canibus is a legend, and he's a guy that, even with everything that he went through in the industry and everything that was put in his path, he is one of the very few people that still made a name that you can still remember and call back to something today. He would be, and again, be clear, I'm not talking about the superstar level of like the album drops, but like if it was 2007 to 2010, and I'm saying that for like runway purposes. So as we're going into 2009, 2010, who are we looking out for? Who are we checking for? Canibus would have been in that conversation with Kendrick Lamar, with J. Cole, with, you know what I'm saying, but with Rock Marciano and Action Bronson and all these like Currency, Danny Brown. Like you put him in that class of just artists and let him be the underground legend that he should have been and should still be and is, man, you're having a way different conversation about him, you know, like, because I think about the people like Nick Grant and Jaron Benton, Smoke DZA, like he belongs there. Like that's where he belongs, and he belongs as a respected peer in that class. There wasn't people doing what Canibus was doing on any level. You know, even as 50 Cent is trying to make a way in the game, like he's creating mixtapes and handing them, but still at the same time, it's not the same as the dude that's telling you about something like he's talking about computers and the internet in the time where a computer is not even in every home, let alone in a lot of it's not enough computers in schools when he's talking like that. You dig what I'm saying? So it's um it's unfortunate, and I say that as a fan. I say that as a supporter. Again, I really bought the music, bro. I really bought the music, and that's what I'm speaking to. Look, I even bought Rip the Jacker, bro. I bought Rip the Jacker. This is how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Hold up. I never want y'all to get it confused. Like, sincerely, a supporter of Canibus. So when I say that, like it's meant in a real way. And there's more projects than this, so I'm not gonna even go count like I bought every single Canibus album. I didn't. But it was cool to just randomly be in the Best Buy one day and see Rip the Jacker, and it was a real album. And I was like, let me buy this. Let me see what's up with this. It's a couple, again, just rap, real rap on there. But that's it for me. That's it for me, man. That's the story. Sophomore album, 2000 BC, 2000 before Canibus, 25 years old today. Today, what I do encourage you all to do out there that can see this, that can watch this whenever you decide to watch this, go listen to this album. Listen to this album. If you really want to hear bars, if you want to hear somebody just rapping, rapping their ass off, rapping like the Rent do, rapping with no conscience. Like, yo, that's one of those ones. It's 4 out of 5. If you want to hear bars, look, if you want to hear something to make you feel sexy and lovely inside, unless you into some wild stuff, this ain't for you. But if you want to hear somebody just get busy for 55 minutes and some seconds, that's the album. Salute to Canibus. I hope you are doing well, sir. I hope that uh, hip hop as a community, the real people in it, I hope that the real people in the hip hop community have reached out to you and extended love to you and appreciation to you for what you have done. I saw you on My Expert Opinion. I thought that was a dope episode. But I think there's also more to be told about your story and more about the things that I was talking about how far ahead of the game you were as far as the internet and message boards and battling on battle boards and all of that. I think there's so much more to talk about other than just the LL beef and how to get past it. So, man, if anybody knows Canibus or you can see this, and if he's ever between, well, I'll even say Nashville to the Chicago, if you're anywhere in between those cities and we can connect and have a real conversation about your life and music and your contribution to this game, I would love to have that conversation. But yes, 2000 BC, man, never get it messed up. One of the best albums of the year 2000. And 2000 was a great year for hip hop. Don't get it effed up. So I'm not saying that just a cherry pick, but this is still one of the best as far as bars. Okay. And I want you to listen to it. Check it out. It's July 18th, literally 25 years ago, the day the album dropped. You should put it in your ears. You ain't listening to nothing better than that today anyway. I'm pretty sure. You've been complaining about rap. You've been complaining about music. You've been complaining about artists that don't care and ain't passionate. Listen to that 2000 BC by Canibus then. You dig? That's going to do it for me, man. I sincerely appreciate y'all for checking out this live or checking out this episode whenever you got the chance to check out the episode. And until next time, and I always want you to know that always and consensually, it's love.